Jay here for Stretford, Paddock, and this is the Paper Talk. And as you can see, I'm outside Old Trafford, and the weather's pretty grim, but not too grim. It's not raining at least, so small mercies. Now, it's July 2020, but you may be forgiven for thinking it's July 2019 or 2018 or 2017, because there's another story doing the rounds of United going in for a director of football. Yes, we've been here before, many years. There's a story in the Telegraph that Ed Woodward will look to appoint a director of football at Manchester United after putting the role back on his agenda. United's executive vice chairman first looked at the position 2 years ago and has returned to the idea of a wide-ranging post to sit alongside the existing structure at Old Trafford. As the Telegraph mentioned, this story, I thought it was longer than 2 years to be fair, has been doing the rounds for a little while now. We know that last summer, United were looking at people like Rio Ferdinand, like Darren Fletcher, like Patrice Evra. There were stories that those were interviewed for the role, that United wanted to bring in someone that knew Manchester United Football Club, had that experience of working with some of these players. Some people questioned it on whether Rio Ferdinand or Darren Fletcher or even Patrice Evra had that experience of actually being a director of football. They haven't got that experience, so it's just the fact that you're a United legend enough to help you fulfil that role. Whatever reason, it didn't happen. None of those players came in as director of football and the role wasn't filled. Now, apparently, according to the Telegraph, Atletico Madrid's Andrea Berta is among the sporting directors who may be tempted by working for United. So it's a lot of ifs and buts and maybes, but we've been here before. We'll have to wait and see whether United are really serious about getting a director of football in, or whether it's just to sort of keep the fans happy, because we know a lot of fans would like to see someone come in and help Ole Gunnar Solskjaer get transfer deals done a little bit easier, a little bit smoother. If you look at the transfer deals we've made this year, they've been largely successful. You could argue they've all been successful. And I think in the summer, when we went in for Harry Maguire and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, we did get those deals done, obviously. I think part of the problem was it took a little bit longer than it should have, and there was a little back and forth going, especially in the press. When United tried to sign Aaron Wan-Bissaka, there were reports coming from the Crystal Palace camp that United had included clauses like, if Aaron Wan-Bissaka wins the Champions League and things like that, where Palace just wanted an upfront fee of around 45-50 million. And when you've got stories like that leaking to the press, it doesn't paint the club United in a good picture. So you're looking at someone coming in and making those deals a little bit smoother, making them run quickly, like I said earlier. And some of the problems we've had isn't been the fact that we've not been able to get deals done. We got Harry Maguire in, we got Aaron Wan-Bissaka in. It's the fact that we've gone into negotiations, clubs have asked for a certain price, we've said no, and we've ended up paying that. We know full well that Leicester more or less demanded 80 million, 85 million for us for Harry Maguire, and yet it took us 2 weeks, and in the end we ended up paying that. We know that Crystal Palace wanted around 45-50 million for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. It took us, again, roughly 2 weeks, and we ended up paying that. So maybe if someone comes in, I'm not saying we can start getting players on the cheap, I don't think that's necessarily the case, but perhaps the press won't keep getting briefed as to what's going on. We can get the deals done, and we can do more than one deal at a time as well, because that's another story that we keep hearing from Old Trafford, is that we can only do one transfer at a time, and sometimes that can hamper you. You need to have several deals on at the same time, several deals at the go, especially, as is rumoured to be believed, United are looking at going on a little bit of a spending spree and a clear out as well. That's another story doing the rounds, is that Manchester United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer have identified at least 5 or 6 players that are surplus to requirements. I think it was James Ducker, again in the Telegraph, who's quite reliable. He was saying it's sort of become clear that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't rate some of these players. You can see by the recent games where we've had tired legs, we've had players that have played consistently game in, game out, who perhaps needed a rest, and yet Ole still doesn't feel comfortable in giving some of his squad players, his fringe players, a start. He's sticking with his tried and tested players. The players that he trusts, players like Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba, Nemanja Matic, Marcus Rashford. Those players are playing consistently, when maybe some of them need a bit of a break, and the sort of feeling is that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer isn't giving them a break, isn't bringing in other players, because those players he just doesn't trust. And we could expect to see a bit of an exodus this summer. The players that have been earmarked for a departure, the likes of Jesse Lingard, Juan Mata, Andreas Pereira, Diogo Dalot, a lot of the loanees, players that have gone out on loan, of course, the likes of Alexis Sanchez and Chris Smalling. We can expect them to go out in the summer. It was reported that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, when he first arrived or first took over as full-time manager, had identified 9 players that he needed to bring in. Not necessarily name the players, but positions and areas where he needed to strengthen, to the tune of nine different players coming in. So he's almost halfway there. He's brought in several players. I know, obviously, Odi Nigalo is a signing that won't be here very long term, but there's still some way to go. And we can see there's some way to go because, okay, yes, we're fighting for top 4, but that's not where Manchester United should be. Manchester United should be challenging for titles and for Champions League, and we're at least 4 players away from that, if not more. Now, another story doing the rounds, and one that will cheer up a lot of United fans if it's true, is that United are in for a 600-goal wonder kid, Charlie McNeil, from Manchester City, after he's rejected a contract with the club from the Etihad. Apparently he's a Manchester United fan. He's only 16. He turned 17 in September, and he's keen on a move to Manchester United. Apparently he was at United and then he went to City. Now he wants to come back because, as I said, he's a Manchester United fan, and also he believes he'll get better chances here at Manchester United. He believes that, you know, when it comes to it, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will give youngsters a chance. I mean, we've seen it with the likes of Brandon Williams, Mason Greenwood, even some of the other players. You look at likes of Ethan Laird, Jimmy Garner. They've had starts for Manchester United. They've had games, not many, but you know that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is someone that does believe in youth. It's always been a big principle here at Manchester United. You give the youngsters a chance. The academy plays a big part with the first team, and Charlie McNeil feels that he'll get a chance here if he comes to Old Trafford, and obviously being a United fan, that would suit him. Now, it wasn't long ago that on Instagram, Charlie McNeil announced his decision to leave Manchester City. He said, "Massive thank you to Man City for everything over the past 6 years. It's been such a pleasure to play with some amazing players and made some amazing friends. Thanks to all the staff and players for helping me develop as a player and also as a person. I wish everyone the very best. Thank you." So he's sort of made his decision there, it would seem. Now, this could go or will go to a tribunal. City are reportedly wanting around a 6-figure sum, and if my maths is correct, I think that's a minimum of £1 million for Charlie McNeil to leave them and to come to United. I know, obviously, he's leaving them, but they're still entitled to some money because, obviously, he spent so long there. So we'll see how that one pans out. I mean, 600 goals is ridiculous. I don't know if he's doing a Pele there and counting every goal he's ever scored, even when he's having a kick around with his mates, but he's obviously a hugely talented kid. Someone like that coming to Manchester United can only be a positive thing. Hopefully that'll happen and we can get him in here and see what he's about. I'm looking forward to actually seeing him come to the academy, if that is to be believed, and at the moment it looks like there may be some truth to it. A player going out is a youngster called Ben Hockenhull. He's completed a move to Championship club Brentford that Manchester United announced yesterday that the centre-back has gone over to Brentford, and they sort of wish him well. So that's one youngster making the move away from Old Trafford. Was a big fixture in the academy. He's got his move, well, not got his move, but he's moving on, and as always, you wish the young players well. It's a shame when it doesn't quite work out from Old Trafford, but we've seen it time and time again. Many players go out of United and still have a successful career. Some of them even come back, so you never know. A final story doing the rounds as well is apparently, this has sort of come out this morning, that Sergio Romero is unhappy. I've seen this reported in a couple of newspapers. You have to keep an eye on it, that Sergio Romero, because David De Gea has kept his #1 spot, Sergio Romero apparently is not happy about that because he felt he deserves a chance and he's not getting it. I don't think there's much weight to this, to be honest with you. One thing we know about Sergio Romero is he's been here for a few years now and he's happy to be #2. He doesn't seem to be the sort of player that would kick up a fuss. He seems to accept the fact that he's behind still one of the best goalkeepers, at least on his day, on the planet. So he's okay with that. And we've seen Sergio Romero come in and win trophies. Don't forget, Sergio Romero, who was part of the team when we won the Europa League a few years ago. Sergio Romero does get chances in the cup competitions. I know he didn't play at Wembley in the FA Cup semi-final, but he has had chances in the past. So do I think Sergio Romero really wants to leave Manchester United just because David De Gea has had a bit of a ropey spell and has kept his place? Not really. I think that's probably just speculation and paper talk. We know that Dean Henderson is having a great season at Sheffield United. We can expect to see him coming back here soon, potentially, or if not soon, within the next year or so. So maybe when that happens, Sergio Romero may have a decision to make, because I doubt very much he'll want to be third choice keeper if indeed Dean Henderson comes in and he's first choice and David De Gea goes up to the bench, or as I expect, Dean Henderson comes in eventually and he's a sort of understudy to David De Gea. Then yeah, Sergio Romero may well look at it and go, listen, you know, I'm an Argentinian international, I'm an experienced goalkeeper, I'm a very talented goalkeeper. I'd argue that he's probably the best #2 goalkeeper in the country. He's going to want, you know, more sort of assurances or more playing time than you'll get being a third choice keeper. I mean, how often do we see Lee Grant play for Manchester United? Almost never, other than, you know, pre-season friendlies and maybe the odd cup game. So I'd file that under doubtful. I don't think Sergio Romero wants to leave Old Trafford, but we'll wait and see what happens with that one. As always, get involved in the comments. Let us know what you think about those stories, whether you've seen any other stories. We're talking about a bit of a summer clear out. Is that what you want to see? Do you think the likes of Juan Mata, Jesse Lingard, Andreas Pereira, Diogo Dalot, those players that I've mentioned, do they need to go? Will that help fund some more players coming in? Do you want to see Manchester United going out in the summer and making sort of the 3 or 4 or 5 signings that perhaps we need to challenge for the title, or is it going to be a longer process? Do we need to sort of sign 2 or 3 in the next window and then go again the following window? Let us know what you think. As always, we've got loads of good stuff coming up on the channel. We've got the preview, for the Leicester game. We've got Housen and McCullough Uncensored. And obviously for the Leicester game, we'll have the watch along, we'll have the match review, we'll have the fan cams, we'll have all that as Manchester United looks to bid for Champions League football. We know that anything other than a defeat at the King Power on Sunday and here at Old Trafford, we'll have Champions League football next season. Keep watching Stretford Paddock. We'll have loads of good stuff coming up. I'm Jay. We're here at Old Trafford. Thanks for watching.